I think I lit up a firestorm and the comment section was on fire over why African immigrants do not want to retire in Canada but want to go back home. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it up here or in the description below so that you get some context. So this video is a follow-up to that video. There was so much passion in the reactions, and today we're just going to take a look at some of those reactions.
I just woke up and said I wanted to go home. I wanted to go to Nigeria, and I came to Nigeria and I felt something that I can call healing. I felt it. I can't explain it. Maybe it's the food, but because the food is organic and no preservatives.
Do I want to be comfortable? Yes. Do I want to make sure that my family is taken care of? Yes. Outside of that, I'm good. I've always said it. When I get old, I'm just going to put myself in an old care home. I'm going to give everything away. I don't need it. I've lived it. I've enjoyed it. I don't need it. And I move on.
Hello everyone. My name is Kola. I have lived in Canada for over 25 years. Welcome back to this side of life. And if you're new here, welcome and thank you all for joining me today. First up, I just want to say thank you to all the people who watched my last video and really took the time to comment. I think that the comment section is a gem because we can all learn so much from each other in the comment section. So today, I'm just going to go over some of the reactions that I got on that video, which I think will also be a good thing for us all to learn from. The most popular reaction was one of emotional and sentimental ties to the home country and to the motherland, Africa, right? I also feel that as well, even though some people were saying in the comment section that I am biased and that's why I have identity crisis or something like that. But well, people can say whatever they want to say. But yeah, I do understand the ties to back home, where you grew up, your culture, your people, and all that, which makes sense for people to have that reaction. And that's why they want to go back home. They want to retire home. They want to go back to their roots, to their ancestral lands, especially when comparing the environment here to the environment back home. We all know the weather is an issue. It is very cold. Some people said nobody wants to die in cold, frigid Canada, and some are saying, oh, I will go back to Nigeria and lie by the sea and enjoy the fresh food and enjoy the fresh air and enjoy organic food and things like that. I mean, that's a good reason to want to retire back to Africa for sure. Even people who have lived here 20, 30, 40 years still have that pull of back home. They still have that pull to go back home, which is very understandable. You just make sure that you are ready to face whatever it is that you might need to face over in your home country, because we have a very romanticized view about going back home. Like some people also pointed out, that we really need to sit down and be pragmatic and really think through everything before we make that decision. I mean, if you didn't leave Africa, that's a different thing, but you left and you have lived in a different environment for so long, it is not just going to be that easy for you to go back and expect that everything will just be like a fairy tale or happily ever after. There was an 80-year-old in the comment section who said that he or she doesn't like the hassle that he has to go through when he goes home, so he is retiring in the UK. And others did talk about half and half, like stay here for some of the time and back in Africa for some of the time. We had some people who gave their experiences, which I really, really appreciate, about how they have retired in, I think it was in the UK, and how they are enjoying their life there. And there was another person also who retired in the US and was talking about how it is enjoyable there as well. And somebody talked about their dad, 70 years old, went back to Nigeria, a doctor, and established a hospital in their village, and that they have never seen him so happy. There are different people with different experiences. And what I want to point out here is that, we shouldn't discount what other people think. The fact that you feel like you need to go and retire in Africa does not mean that the person that decided to retire in the US, in Canada, in the UK has done something wrong. Everybody, different strokes for different folks. And the most important thing, and what many people also talked about, is being prepared and having enough money saved up for retirement. Because yes, you do need money for retirement. Even if you worked in Canada and you are entitled to pension, or maybe in the US and you have social security and all those things. With all that, you still do need to plan. And that is why it is very important to start planning for your retirement. And I am speaking to people who are not even at the age of retirement. Like I said in the previous video, from whenever you start working, whether you are living in Nigeria or in Canada or in US, wherever you are, you need to start thinking about that time when you will no longer be able to work and you will need to live off whatever you have saved. I mean, gone are the days when, as Africans, your children are your retirement plan. That is another story for another day. I will be doing a video on that. Children as retirement plan. Like those days are gone. I mean, we all pray that our children will treat us well when we grow older, but we cannot rely on them. We cannot rely on them. We have to plan for our retirement. And that is one thing that people said throughout the comment section of the previous video, that yes, you need to plan. You need to put money aside. You need to be ready for your retirement. Now, something else that people talked about was this nursing homes issue. Many people are like, oh, in Canada, in the US, in UK, at least in the West, old people are placed in nursing homes and they don't want to be in nursing homes. Well, there are nursing homes and there are nursing homes. There are certain homes where the seniors are not well and so they need medical care. So yeah, you can call those nursing homes. But then there are retirement homes. There are assisted living homes where people go just because they are getting older and they cannot do certain things for themselves. Like here in Canada, if you have your own house, you might need to mow the lawn, take out the garbage, do cleaning. Even if you are in Nigeria, you will need to do cleaning, at least take care of your environment. And as people get older, they can no longer do what they used to do. So they need to go to a place where people can assist them to do those things. We have equivalents in Nigeria where right now I know that people pay for care organizations that provide people to come into your home and take care of your parents, do things for them that they cannot do for themselves. This is the same thing that happens in this assisted living. And then people talk about, oh yeah, they are abused, there's elder abuse. I'm like, okay, there is elder abuse everywhere. Right? Even in Nigeria, we know that all these housemates that we hire to take care of our parents or even of our children, so many stories about what they are doing to these vulnerable people. So yeah, people are people everywhere. There will be abuse. I'm just saying that is a factor of getting old and needing help. So if you go to a retirement home, it's because you cannot really take care of yourself by yourself and so you need some help. So that's why you go into retirement home. And if you recall what Dr. Zoe said in the previous video as well, that some of these retirements are so good, they are like Nikon Nougat. They're like living in a hotel all your life, but they are expensive. Which takes me back to the fact that if you want to retire, wherever you want to retire, you need to have money saved up. That is non-negotiable wherever you are going, whatever you are doing in your retirement. It is non-negotiable. You need money. And I am so grateful for all the people that also weighed in and said that you don't have to do either of them. You don't have to stay in the West or go back to Africa if you don't want to. There are so many other options. So many options that you have of where you can go. Other African countries, if you don't want to go to your own country. Asia, there are many countries in Asia where people retire to and they're having a good life there and it is less expensive, lower cost of living. The weather is good and it's a medium between going back to Africa or staying in the West. So yeah, you do have other options. Those are not just the two options that you have. And if you're getting any value from this video, this is the time for you to hit that like button. Give us a thumbs up. This really helps to grow the channel and get the message out to more people. Thank you very much. And also, there's something in Canada that's called the snowbirds, and some people also mentioned it. People who live in Canada during the good weather and go away to a warm climate during the cold weather. I mean, you don't have to be here during the cold if you don't want to be. There are options, but at the end of the day, it comes back to money. So you need to have money. I cannot overemphasize that. You need to have money. And talking about money, I need to make a correction from my last video because I did say that to get OAS in Canada, you have to be in Canada for 6 months of the year. Well, I was thinking about my mom, who is also on OAS, but she has not spent up to 20 years in Canada. So the rule applies to her that she has to be in Canada for 6 months of the year to get our OAS. But if you have spent over 20 years in Canada and you retire, you don't have to be in Canada for 6 months to be qualified for OAS. Even if you go back to Africa, you can still get your OAS. So yeah, you get your old age security and your CPP and any other retirement funds that you have. And of course, if you take all that money and you go to Africa, Nigeria, in my case, you will have a lot of money to live in Nigeria comfortably in your retirement, so long as you are okay with everything else that comes with that. Okay, another thing that I noted in the comments is people saying, how many Africans can afford to retire in the West? How many Africans can afford to retire in Canada? It's because you are broke. That's why you're not going back to Africa to retire. I don't know, like, why do we Africans always put ourselves down? Why do we always talk about, fellow Africans as being poor, dejected? We are at the bottom of the social ladder. We cannot get ahead. We cannot afford to retire. We are, suffering. I don't know why we think like that. And then we say that other people are speaking lowly about us, because we ourselves, we speak poorly about each other. Yes, if people in this part of the world, this is my thinking. If people in this part of the world can afford to retire, why wouldn't we as Africans be able to retire here if we want to, right? We work so hard, harder than most people. So why should we not have the resources to be able to do what we want when we are retired? If people here, if Caucasians, if Canadians can afford to stay in an assisted living or stay in a retirement home, they don't have two heads. They also did the same work, that especially people who have lived here 20, 30, 40 years. We should wonder, why can't we afford to retire here if we want to, like if we desire to? Why can't we? We should be able to. And I also think that we have so many stereotypes. We accuse other people of having stereotypes, but we have our own stereotypes. Stereotypes of, you cannot afford it. The only thing that you need to do to be able to afford it is to have the money and to be wealthy enough. And I did do a video about getting wealthy, getting rich in Canada. I will link it here or here if you want to watch it. So it is possible to be able to afford to retire here if you want to. You just have to work towards it. My 2 cents. Finally, I was so happy when many people talked about how the most important thing in your retirement is how you give back. How you give back to your community. I mean, it's all fine and dandy to think about ourselves and our comfort and the big houses that we're going to retire to and relaxing by the ocean and having a good time in retirement. But I think that really one of the best things that we can do is to give back to our community, give back to our society, no matter what that looks like for you. Like that 70-year-old doctor who retired from abroad and went back to Nigeria to establish a hospital in his village. Yeah, those kind of things that make an impact on the people around us for good and for God, like I always say. And it's not only back at home that you can make an impact. People don't want to hear it, but you can make an impact wherever you are. If you are in Canada, you can make an impact in Canada. Remember Pat in my previous video. She does all she can to volunteer, help little children who cannot read, go to outreaches, feed the homeless and things like that. So there are many things that you can do. Let us not just retire and sit down and have people waiting on us and we are eating, the organic food and put our feet up and we start aging and getting closer to our last days faster than we should. And then the issue of isolation came up quite a bit in the comment section. But what I think about isolation is you can be isolated wherever you are. If you want friends, you have to show yourself friendly. You have to get out and go out and reach out to people wherever you are, especially for people who grow old in the Western countries. You don't just sit in your house and be moaning that I'm lonely, I'm isolated. You have to go out and meet people and do things and mix with people, volunteer, and make your life interesting. I feel like in retirement, your life is actually what you make of it. Isolation happens. If you let it happen to you, then it will happen to you wherever you are. Also, at the end of the day, like I always say, we don't all have to follow the same path in life. Some people are so they are so passionate about their decisions, about what they are doing, that they feel like everybody needs to do the same thing. But that's not possible. Everybody is different. The path that's good for you may not be good for another person. People kept talking about family at home. What about people who don't have family back at home? I mean, in this day and age, many people, their families are all over the place. What about if their families are not back at home? So yeah, everybody is unique. Everybody has their own path in life. We all have a reason why we are here. We all have a purpose, and it's not the same for everybody. So let everybody do their due diligence, do the critical thinking about what they want to do for their retirement, and follow their own path. Don't be dogmatic or stereotypical. Prayerfully consider the options that you have and let God guide you and lead you to which way that is best for you. All we want to do is live a good life and leave a good legacy for the people that are coming behind. Like they always say, we will only be remembered by the things that we have done. As long as we are in the will of God, then we are good. That is my own thinking. Thank you again for everybody that's watching and commenting. The comments really, really help. And please, if you have any comments about this topic or anything that you want to talk about, please leave it in the comment section below and let us all learn from each other. And of course, this is not the end of this topic. I'm sure I will have more videos about retirement because it is a very important topic to talk about. Yeah, people also wanted me to interview other people who are retired either here or gone back to Africa to retire. And if you're one of those people, if you want to share your story, you never know. If you're out there and you want to share your retirement story, please hit me up. My email address will be in the description box below. Thank you very much. Well, I'll end it here for today. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me again. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload new videos. Also, stay tuned to this channel for much more interesting content coming your way. Until I come your way again, until the next video, you go out and make it the best days of your life. Bye.